There are moments when we look in the mirror and don't recognize who's there. Not because of physical change, but because we've forgotten who we truly are. We've lost connection with our essence, with the love that has dwelled within us from the beginning. And in that forgetting, we become ill, not just the body, but the soul. Because when we abandon ourselves, we also abandon the divine presence that lives within us. But what if I told you there's a way back? A path where self-love and faith meet, intertwine, and together create the most powerful healing force you've ever experienced. Stay here with me, because what you're about to discover can forever transform the way you see yourself, allow yourself, and connect with the sacred that pulses within your chest. Welcome to Between Love and Faith. This is a sacred space where we talk soul to soul, heart to heart. If you've come this far, it wasn't by chance. Perhaps you're tired of carrying the weight of self-criticism. Perhaps you're exhausted from feeling insufficient. Or maybe you just sense there's something greater waiting for you, but you don't know how to reach it. I understand you, and more than that, God understands you. Today, we're going to talk about something that transformed my life and can transform yours too. We're going to talk about the union between self-love and spirituality, not as separate concepts, not as isolated practices, but as an integrated experience where one strengthens the other, where one heals through the other. Because the truth is this: you cannot truly connect with God if you do and love yourself, and you cannot truly love yourself if you do and recognize that there is something divine in you. Self-love and spirituality aren't parallel paths. They're the same path, seen from different angles. For a long time, we were taught that loving yourself was selfishness, vanity, arrogance, that spirituality meant sacrifice, self-denial, self-forgetfulness. But this created generations of spiritually devoted yet emotionally empty people. People who prayed for others, but didn't allow themselves to receive, who served the world, but neglected their own soul. And then we became ill, with anxiety, with depression, with existential emptiness. Because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot love your neighbor if you do. You need to recognize that you too are worthy of that love. Today, you'll discover that caring for yourself isn't moving away from God. It's moving closer. It's honoring the divine creation that you are. It's recognizing that if God made you in His image and likeness, then the sacred dwells within you, and the sacred deserves love. Deserves care, deserves reverence. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to be here, in this moment, without guilt, without rush. Because what you're going to learn now isn't just information. It's a key that opens the door to a life where you finally feel complete. Where faith isn't a burden but wings. Where self-love isn't sin but prayer. Let's take this journey together, and I promise, at the end of it, you won't be the same. You'll be who you were always meant to be, who God always knew you are. You'll be free. You'll be loved by God and by yourself. And that union, my friend, is where true healing happens. Prepare your heart. The transformation begins now. Have you ever felt that tightness in your chest when you look at your life and ask yourself, why am I not enough? Maybe you work harder than everyone around you. Maybe you dedicate yourself tirelessly to others. Maybe you pray, serve, give your best. And still, in the silence of the night, when you're alone with yourself, that uncomfortable feeling comes. That voice that whispers, you're not enough. This pain is real, and it doesn't choose whom to visit. It arrives for the successful person who feels like a failure, for the dedicated mother who thinks she's negligent, for the loving child who carries guilt, for the person of faith who, even praying every day, can't forgive themselves for being human. I know what it's like. You know what it is like to wake up with that feeling that you're always owing something to the world, to God, to yourself. I know what it's like to live with the feeling of being out of place, as if there were a better version of you that you can never reach, as if you were a draft, never the final work, and the worst part isn't the pain itself. The worst is what we do with it. We begin to punish ourselves. We deny ourselves rest, joy, lightness. We believe that if we're hard enough on ourselves, if we demand enough of ourselves, if we sacrifice enough, then finally we'll be worthy. Worthy of love, of peace, of blessing. But it doesn't work that way, does it? The more you demand of yourself, the more exhausted you become. The more you sacrifice, the emptier you feel. The more you try to be perfect, the more you notice your imperfections. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes. No matter how much you put in, it always escapes. There's always something missing. Always more to do, more to be, more to prove. And amid all this, spirituality, which should be refuge, sometimes becomes another source of guilt. You pray, but feel unworthy. You seek God, but consider yourself too small to be heard. You want faith, but carry so much doubt about yourself that you can't fully trust in divine love. It's as if there were a veil between you and God. And that veil has a name: lack of self. Because when you don't love yourself, when you don't value yourself, when you don't recognize your own light, how can you believe that God loves you? How can you accept grace if you don't consider yourself worthy of grace? How can you receive blessings if you, deep down, believe you don't deserve them? And so we leave broken. On one side, our spirituality, full of devotion but empty of self. On the other, our humanity, full of needs but denied in the name of holiness. And in the middle, you. Tired of not feeling enough. Tired of living a faith that doesn't calm the pain. Tired of serving everyone except yourself. Perhaps you learned that caring for yourself is selfishness. That your needs are less important than others. That you must empty yourself completely so that God can fill you. But look what happened. You emptied yourself so much that not even God can fill you. Because you don't allow yourself to receive, you don't think you're worthy, and the pain continues. The feeling of inadequacy, the emotional exhaustion, the loneliness, even surrounded by people, the faith that seems not strong enough to heal what hurts inside you. And you wonder, is there something wrong with me? Is my faith weak? Has God forgotten me? No, my friend, God hasn't forgotten you. You've forgotten yourself. You forgot that you too are divine creation, that you too are loved, that you too are worthy of care, of kindness, of compassion. You give all this to others, but deny it to yourself. And that denial is the root of your pain. Because, you see, God never asked you to hate yourself, never asked you to punish yourself, diminish yourself, annul yourself. What God wants is for you to recognize that He lives in you. And if He lives in you, then you are a sacred temple. And sacred temples deserve respect, care, love. But as long as you don't understand this, as long as you continue treating yourself as if you were less, as long as your spirituality is about denial instead of celebration, the pain will continue. Because you'll be trying to build a spiritual house on broken emotional foundations, and it will crumble, always. This is the human pain that so many of us carry, and it's deep. But I tell you with all the love in my heart, it doesn't have to be eternal. There's a way where faith and self-love meet, where you finally discover that loving yourself doesn't move you away from God. It brings you closer, and it's about that path we're going to talk about now. Now, take a deep breath with me, because here begins the turn. Here begins the moment when everything starts to make sense in a new, luminous, liberating way. Let's look at everything you feel. All this pain, all this guilt, all this feeling of insufficiency. But now, through God's eyes. Not through the eyes of religion that judges, not through the eyes of doctrine that condemns, but through the eyes of divine love that simply sees, understands, and embraces. When God created you, He didn't make a draft. He didn't say, I'll make this one anyway and see if I can fix it later. No. When you were formed, when your soul received the divine breath, God looked at you and saw perfection. Not perfection in the sense of absence of human flaws, but perfection in the sense of completeness, of purpose, of materialized love. The Bible tells us we are made in God's image and likeness. Have you stopped to think deeply about what this means? It means there's something divine in you that you carry within your being, a spark of the Creator, that you're not just a body that prays, but a spirit that manifests the sacred on earth. And if this is true, if you truly carry the divine within you, then how would God want you to treat yourself? With contempt, with cruelty, with indifference, or with the same love, the same compassion, the same kindness He has for you? Because here's the great spiritual mystery that few understand. When you love yourself, you're not just loving yourself. You're loving God's presence in you. When you care for yourself, you're not being selfish. You're honoring the sacred temple that God chose to inhabit. When you forgive yourself, you're not being permissive. You're accepting the grace God has already offered you. Jesus taught us to love our neighbor as ourselves. But pay attention to that phrase. He didn't say instead of ourselves. He said as ourselves. This means self-love isn't optional. It's the standard, the measure, the starting point. You can only truly love others when you've learned to love yourself first. And we're not talking about narcissistic, superficial love that only cares about appearances and ego. We're talking about deep, spiritual love that recognizes the sacred in yourself and therefore can recognize the sacred in others. A love that understands you're valuable not for what you do, but for what you are. A child of God, a manifestation of the divine, an eternal soul living a human experience. For centuries, we confused humility with self-deprecation. We thought being humble was considering yourself inferior, worthless, insignificant. But true humility isn't that. Humility is recognizing your true nature, neither more nor less than others, equally loved by God, equally worthy of grace. When you diminish yourself, when you treat yourself with cruelty, when you deny your own needs, you're not being humble. You're denying God's work in you. You're saying the Creator made a mistake, made something worthless. And that, my friend, is the opposite of faith. True faith is trusting not only in God, but also in God's creation. And you are that creation. True faith is believing that if God made you, then you have purpose, value, light. That you don't need to become worthy because you were born worthy. That you don't need to deserve love because you already are love. Think about the moments when Jesus walked the earth. He didn't seek only the perfect, the saints, the pure. He sought the broken, the rejected, those who felt unworthy. And to each of them, He offered the same thing: unconditional love. He didn't say become worthy and then I'll love you. He said you're already loved, exactly as you are. And if Jesus, who is the manifestation of God's love on earth, treated people this way, how do you think God wants you to treat yourself? With judgment or with compassion? With severity or with kindness? With rejection or with acceptance? The spiritual truth that will set you free is this: God doesn't want you to hate yourself to love Him. He wants you to love yourself because that's how you understand His love. God doesn't need you to suffer to prove your devotion. He wants you to be whole, complete, happy, because that's the nature of divine love. Expansion, not contraction. Freedom, not prison. Abundant life, not empty sacrifice. When you begin to truly love yourself, something extraordinary happens in your spirituality. Your prayers change. They stop being desperate pleas from someone who feels unworthy and become intimate conversations of someone who knows themselves to be a beloved child. Your faith deepens. Because now you don't just believe in a distant God, but experience the divine presence within you. Your connection strengthens, because there's no longer a veil between you and the sacred. You recognize that you're part of the sacred. And here's the great secret: the more you love yourself, the more you understand God's love. Because true self-love isn't human, limited, selfish love. It's a reflection of divine love in you. It's God loving through you, for you, in you. This changes everything. You're no longer alone on your journey. You're no longer a body trying to reach a distant God. Your spirit, connected to spirit. Your love learning to recognize itself as love. Your divine discovering your own divinity. And when you understand this, when this truth penetrates not only your mind but your heart, your soul, every cell of your being, then healing begins. Because you finally understand, you don't need to become worthy of God's love. You already are. You always were, and you always will be. This is the spiritual perspective that transforms everything. It's not about being perfect. It's about recognizing yourself as perfectly loved. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about always being able to start again. It's not about striving to reach God. It's about realizing God never left from within you. And now, with this new understanding, with this new perspective, we're ready for the next step, the practical path of healing. Because one thing is understanding with the mind, another thing is living with the heart, and that's where we're going now. The path of healing isn't a straight road. It is not a linear process where you wake up one day and decide to love yourself, and that is, everything's resolved. No, it's a gentle path, sometimes slow, made of small steps, small choices, small moments of courage where you choose to treat yourself with the same kindness that God treats you. And the first step, the most important of all, is awareness. It's you stopping and really seeing yourself. Not with the eyes of criticism, not with the eyes of demand, but with the eyes of loving truth. It's you asking yourself, how have I been treating myself? What words do I speak to myself? What thoughts do I allow to occupy my mind? Do I treat myself as I would treat someone I love? And when you ask these questions with honesty, something inside you shakes, because you realize you may have been your own executioner. That maybe the harshest voice you hear doesn't come from outside, but from within. That maybe you've been crueler to yourself than anyone else ever was. But don't blame yourself for that, because even this discovery is part of healing. It's the awakening. It's the moment when you say, enough, I won't live like this anymore. I won't allow my own voice to be my destruction anymore. From today, I choose to speak to myself with love. And then begins the most transformative spiritual practice that exists. Praying for yourself, not a selfish prayer, asking for material things or personal advantages, but a deep prayer where you ask God to teach you to love yourself as He loves you, where you ask to see in yourself what God sees, where you place in divine hands all limiting beliefs, all unhealed wounds, all patterns of self-destruction. God, teach me to love myself. Show me my worth. Help me see myself with your eyes. Heal in me everything that prevents me from recognizing my own light. Free me from the chains of self-criticism and clothe me with the mantle of self. May I honor your creation in me, loving myself as you love me. This prayer, when made with sincerity, opens portals, because you're no longer fighting alone. You've invited the divine to participate in your healing. And God responds, not always the way we expect, not always in the time we want, but always, always. The second step is forgiveness, forgiving yourself for all the times you abandoned yourself, for all the times you didn't defend yourself, for all the times you accepted less than you deserved, for all the times you betrayed your own essence to please others, for all the times you were harsh, cruel, merciless with yourself. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or justifying. It means releasing. It means letting go of the weight. It means saying, I did the best I could with what I knew at that moment. And now, knowing more, I choose differently. I forgive myself, and I give myself permission to start again. And here's the mystery. When you forgive yourself, you experience God's forgiveness in a totally new way, because you finally understand grace. You understand that divine love isn't conditional, isn't deserved, isn't earned. It simply is, and always was. You just couldn't receive it because you didn't forgive yourself. But now, forgiving yourself, you open up, and grace floods in. The third step is the daily practice of kindness toward yourself. And this is revolutionary, because kindness isn't weakness. Kindness is strength. Kindness is you choosing every day to treat yourself as you would treat someone precious, because you are precious. In God's eyes, you're priceless. Start small. When you wake up, instead of already starting the day demanding everything you need to do, stop, breathe, and tell yourself, good morning, I love you. Let's go together today. Seems simple, but for someone who's never treated themselves with love, this is revolutionary. During the day, observe your inner voice. When it becomes critical, when it starts with you should and you're not capable, stop, breathe, and replace it. I'm doing my best. I'm enough. I trust the process. At first, these words will seem strange, even false, but continue because you're reprogramming years of self-criticism. And that takes time, but each time you choose kindness, you're planting a seed of love. And these seeds grow. The fourth step is nurturing your body, mind, and spirit. Because you're not just spirit, your body too. And the body is the temple where your spirit dwells. So care for Italiano, not for aesthetics, not for social pressure, but out of reverence. Eat with awareness, thanking the food that nourishes your temple. Rest without guilt, knowing that even God rested on the seventh day. Move your body with joy, celebrating the miracle of being alive. Nurture your mind with elevated thoughts. Read sacred texts, not to fulfill religious obligation, but to remember who you are. Listen to music that elevates your soul. Surround yourself, when passively, with people who reflect your value back to you. And when it's not possible, be that person for yourself and nurture your spirit. Reserve sacred moments to be in silence with God. Not necessarily praying with words, but just being present, receptive, open. In these moments, something profound happens. You remember, you reconnect, you renew. The fifth step is radical acceptance. Accepting that you're human, that you're going to make mistakes, that you're going to have difficult days, that you won't always feel strong, enlightened, connected. And that's okay, because spirituality isn't about never falling. It's about always being able to get up. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Accept your shadows. Don't deny them. Don't repress them. But bring them to the light, because what you reject in yourself has power over you. But what you accept and integrate transforms. And often, your greatest shadows hide your greatest gifts. And finally, the sixth step. Gratitude for yourself. Begin to recognize everything you are, everything you've done, everything you've overcome. Thank your body for continuing to sustain you, even when you neglected it. Thank your mind for continuing to seek growth, even when you filled it with destructive thoughts. Thank your spirit for never giving up on you, even when you gave up on yourself. Thank you for being who I am. Thank you for my strengths and my weaknesses, because both make me human. Thank you for my journey, with its lights and shadows, because it brought me here. Thank you, God, for creating me. And thank you to myself for having the courage to awaken. This is the path. It's not quick, it's not easy, but it's real. And with each step you take on it, something changes. The pain diminishes. The guilt dissolves. And in the place where before there was only emptiness and self-criticism, something new begins to be born. Something luminous. Something you didn't even know was possible. And that's what we're going to talk about now. About rebirth. About the moment when faith is no longer a concept, but a living experience within you. And then it happens. Not suddenly, not with a bang, but gently, like the dawn that gradually brightens the sky. You realize something has changed inside you. The faith that once seemed distant, theoretical, an obligation you fulfilled, now pulses alive in your chest. It's no longer something external that you seek. It's something internal that you are. This is the moment of renewal. The moment when you finally understand that faith isn't believing despite yourself, but through yourself. That God isn't up there waiting for you to become worthy. He's right here inside, whispering that you always were. And everything changes with this discovery. Your prayers transform. They stop being desperate pleas from someone who feels abandoned and become intimate conversations of someone who knows themselves accompanied. You no longer pray asking God to save you from yourself. You pray thanking because you finally recognize yourself as part of salvation. You begin to notice synchronicities, small miracles, doors that open when you least expect. People who appear exactly when you need them. Words that reach you, as if written especially for that moment. And you know it's not coincidence. It's God responding, always responded, but now you're finally open to receive. Your relationship with sacred scriptures changes to before. You read seeking rules, seeking what you should or shouldn't do. Now, you read seeking recognition, and every word that speaks about love, about grace, about redemption, you feel is for you, not for an abstract humanity, but for you, specifically you, with your name, your story, your wounds. When you read that God loves you, you believe, not just with your mind, but with your heart. When you read that, you're precious in His eyes. You feel it. When you read about love that never fails, you understand that this love includes you, even you, especially you, and the guilt that haunted you begins to lose strength, because you understand that making mistakes doesn't make you unworthy. It makes you human, and God didn't come for the perfect. He came for the broken, for the weary, for those carrying heavy burdens. He came for you. You begin to trust, not in a naive way, not in a way that ignores reality, but in a deep, spiritual way that knows that regardless of what happens externally, you're safe internally. Because you're no longer alone. You never. But now you know this, not just with your head, but with every cell of your being. And this trust sets you free. You don't need to control everything anymore. You don't need to have all the answers anymore. You don't need to be strong all the time anymore. You can be vulnerable. You can be real. You can simply be you, because you trust that God sustains you, even when you fall, especially when you fall. Your faith becomes more compassionate. You stop judging others so severely, because you learn to stop judging yourself. You understand that everyone is doing the best they can with what they know, with the wounds they carry, and instead of criticizing, you embrace. Instead of condemning, you understand. Because you know what it's like to be forgiven, to be accepted, to be loved despite everything. And fear diminishes. It doesn't disappear completely. Because you're still human. And fear is part of the human experience. But it loses the power to paralyze you. Because now you have something stronger than fear. You have faith. Faith that you'll overcome. Faith that you are not alone. Faith that, in the end, love always wins. You begin to feel a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. A peace that remains even when everything around you is in chaos. Because this peace doesn't come from outside. It's born from within. From the place where you and God meet. From the place where self-love and spirituality merge into a single force. And you realize you're becoming who you were always meant to be. Not a perfect version. Not a version without flaws. But an authentic version. True. Oh. A version of you that no longer fears being seen, because it knows it's loved exactly as it is. Your faith is no longer a burden. It's wings. It doesn't imprison you. It frees you. It doesn't diminish you. It expands you. It doesn't separate you from yourself. It connects you with your deepest essence, with the divine that always dwelt in you and that now, finally, you recognize. And in that recognition, in that renewal, you experience something that cannot be described with words, only felt. You experience union. The union between who you are and who God created you to be. The union between self-love and faith. The union between human and divine. And in that union, my friend, you find what you've always sought. You find home. You find peace. You find yourself. And that encounter changes everything. Forever. Now, you see differently, not just with your eyes, but with your soul. It's as if a veil has been removed and you finally see clearly. The world hasn't changed. You changed. And because of that, everything transformed. You look in the mirror and see someone you didn't see before. Not because your face changed, but because your gaze changed. You no longer see only the imperfections, the marks of time, the things you'd like to change. You see history. You see survival. You see a sacred temple that carried you through storms and is still here, firm, breathing, alive. And for the first time in a long time, perhaps for the first time in your life, you smile at yourself. Not a forced smile, Not a social smile, but a true smile, full of tenderness, of recognition, of love. And in that smile, there's forgiveness. There's acceptance. There's gratitude. You begin to notice beauty where before you only saw defect. You realize your scars don't make you broken. They make you a survivor. That your tears don't make you weak. They make you human. That your imperfections don't make you unworthy. They make you real. And there's something profoundly beautiful in being real. Your relationship with silence changes. Before, silence was threatening. It was the moment when the critical voice got louder, when destructive thoughts invaded. But now, silence is sacred. It's where you meet with God. It's where you hear not the voice of criticism, but the voice of wisdom. The voice that was always there, but you couldn't hear because of all the internal noise. And in that silence, you discover something surprising. You like being with yourself. You don't need to flee from yourself through constant distractions anymore. You don't need to numb yourself anymore to bear your own company. You discover that when you love yourself, you become good company for yourself. You begin to make different choices. Choices that honor who you are, not who others expect you to be. You learn to say no without guilt. You learn to say yes without fear. You learn to establish boundaries, not as aggression, but as a way to protect the peace you worked so hard to build. And something beautiful happens in your relationships. The true ones deepen, because now you present yourself whole, authentic, vulnerable. And this authenticity creates real intimacy, not just superficial connections, the toxic relationships. Those that only existed because you accepted less than you deserved naturally dissolve. And you realize this isn't loss, it's liberation. You stop seeking external validation. Not because you don't value others' opinions, but because you no longer depend on them to know your own worth. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of. You know you're loved by God. And that's enough. Your creativity flourishes. Because when you're no longer spending energy criticizing yourself, comparing yourself, diminishing yourself, that energy becomes available to create. To express, to manifest the beauty that always existed within you but was imprisoned by the fear of not being good enough. You discover purpose where before you only saw obligation, because now you understand your life isn't an accident. You're here for a reason. Your gifts aren't coincidence. Your experiences, even the painful ones, shaped you for something greater. And you begin to live not to please, not to prove, but to contribute. To offer the world what only you can offer. And there's lightness. Now, a lightness that doesn't come from the absence of challenges, because life continues being life, with its ups and downs. But a lightness that comes from no longer carrying the weight of self-rejection, from no longer fighting against yourself, from finally being at peace with who you are. You look back and see the entire journey, the falls, the pains, the moments when you thought you couldn't continue, and you understand it was all part of the path. That each wound taught you compassion, that each mistake taught you humility, that each dark moment prepared you to recognize the light, and you give thanks. You give thanks for the journey. You give thanks for having survived. You give thanks for having had the courage to look within, to face your shadows, to choose to love yourself, even when it seemed impossible. Because that choice brought you here, brought you home. The home you carry within yourself, the home made of self-love and faith, where you finally belong. You breathe more deeply now, as if your lungs had more space, as if life could finally circulate in you without obstacles. And you realize this isn't an ending, it's a beginning. The beginning of truly living, of truly loving, of truly being who you were always destined to be. And this new perspective doesn't just change how you see yourself, it changes how you see everything. You see God in every sunrise, you see purpose in every challenge. You see love in every true connection. You see miracles in every ordinary day. Because you finally understood, you're not separate from the divine. You're an expression of the divine, and you always were. And we arrive here, together. From From the point where pain seemed insurmountable to the point where light shone again. And if there's something I want you to take from this journey, something you guard in your heart as a sacred treasure, it's this. Self-love and spirituality aren't separate paths. They are, and always were, the same path seen from different angles. Because loving yourself is a deeply spiritual act. It's recognizing your divine creation. It's honoring God's presence in you. It's accepting that if the Creator made you, then you have inherent value. Not because you do something special, not because you achieve something grand, but simply because you exist. And true spirituality cannot exist without because how can you love God if you reject His creation? How can you trust in God if you don't trust yourself? How can you accept divine love if you don't consider yourself worthy of being loved? This union between self-love and spirituality is where healing happens. Deep, lasting healing that doesn't just mask the pain, but transforms it. That doesn't just cover the wounds, but closes them from the inside out. That doesn't just make you survive, but makes you live fully. And this healing isn't a destination you reach and that's it. It's done. It's a path you choose daily. Each time you choose to speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. Each time you choose to rest without guilt. Each time you choose to honor your needs. Each time you choose to forgive yourself. Each time you choose to believe you're worthy of love. Each of these choices is an act of healing. It's an act of faith. It's an act of revolution against everything that taught you that you weren't enough. And you know what happens when you make these choices consistently? You become inspiration, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. You become light for others who are still in the darkness where you were. Because they look at you and see it's possible, that it's possible to love yourself, that it's possible to have faith, that it's possible to heal, that it's possible to start again, no matter how many times you fell, no matter how deep your pain was. It's possible. And this is the greatest proof of God's love. Not that He protects you from all pain, because pain is part of the human experience, but that He gives you strength to cross through the pain, that He never abandons you, even when you abandon yourself, that He continues loving you, even when you don't love yourself, and that He waits patiently, lovingly, for you to awaken to your own worth. So, if you are waiting for a sign, for permission, for someone to tell you it's okay for you to love yourself, I tell you now, it's more than okay. It's essential. It's sacred. It's what God always wanted for you. Stop punishing yourself for being human. Stop demanding yourself to be perfect. Stop believing you need to deserve love. You already deserve it. You always deserved it. And you always will. Because you're a child of God. And God's children don't need to earn love. They were already born in it. Loving yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you whole. It doesn't move you away from God. It brings you closer. It doesn't diminish you. It expands you. Because when you're filled with self-love and faith, you overflow. And that overflow blesses everyone around you. So, start today. Start now. Look at yourself with kindness. Speak to yourself with compassion. Treat yourself as you would treat someone you love deeply. Because you deserve that love. From God, from others, and especially from yourself. And when you stumble, because you will stumble, because we all stumble, be gentle with yourself. Rise. With love, not with criticism. Forgive yourself with grace, not with harshness. And keep walking. Because each step you take on this path of self-love and spirituality is a step toward the life God always dreamed for you. A life of fullness, a life of peace, a life of love, a life where you finally feel at home in your own skin, in your own soul, in your own life. Because you understood the most liberating truth of all. You do not need to become someone different to be loved. You only need to remember who you always were. Love, light, divinity in human form. And that remembrance, my friend, that remembrance changes everything. If you've made it here, if you've followed every word of this journey, it's because something inside you recognized the truth. Recognized that you deserve this love. Recognized that you deserve this healing. Recognize that the time has come to stop fighting against yourself and start walking alongside God, hand in hand with your own essence. This message didn't reach you by chance. Nothing happens by chance when God is involved. He brought you here because He knows you're ready. Ready to start again. Ready to love yourself. Ready to live the full life that was always destined for you. And I want to invite you to continue this journey with us. Subscribe to the Between Love and Faith channel. Turn on notifications, because every week we bring messages that will accompany you in this process of healing and transformation. You don't need to walk alone. We're here, building a community of souls who chose love, faith, and healing. And in the next video, we'll be going to talk about something that can completely revolutionize your spiritual life. The power of putting yourself first with faith. Because yes, you can prioritize your needs without guilt. You can care for yourself without selfishness. And we'll discover together how to do this in a way that honors God and honors you. Don't miss it. Until then, remember, you are loved by God, and now, finally, by yourself. And that union is the most powerful force in the universe. May peace be with you. May love guide your steps. And may you never again forget how precious you are in the Creator's eyes. See you soon, dear brother, dear sister, and may your journey of love and faith continue flourishing, today and always.